Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here from Chat Sports, and coming up on today's show, we're going to be looking at some Raiders preseason Week 3 winners and losers from the Cowboys game. I'm just going to call a spade a spade. There are not many winners here from the silver and black from this football game because, they just got whooped on offense and on defense. I'm very upset with the effort that was put forth on that field at AT&T Stadium, but I'm not going to try to get myself too worked up because then again, it is only the preseason. To make sure that you never miss any videos here around the Las Vegas Raiders, hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications. The next time that Chugs and I are going to be live is going to be on Tuesday when the Raiders got to get their roster from 91 all the way down to 53. To make sure you never miss anything, subscribe, turn on those notifications. Let's go to the first winner here for the Raiders against Dallas. It was Damien Williams, and again, not too many great things that happened today. Williams, though, he looked motivated. He had himself a hell of a game. He had 6 carries, 54 yards, a touchdown, but it was the way that he carried the football. To me, if the Raiders are going to keep the running backs that they do, Josh Jacobs, Zamir White, Amir Abdul, they're all locks to make it. I'm not a big Brandon Bolden fan. I know this organization is, but to me, the way Damien Williams ran today, he's not going to make the roster, but he definitely deserves the tip of the cap. Let's go with Kristian Wilkerson here, the next winner for the Silver and Black. I do think that the Raiders had themselves a plan today, which was to try to get as many targets as humanly possible to Wilkerson, and he saw 13 targets. In fact, he was the only player on the Raiders that saw more than 4 targets. He had 10 catches for 122 yards. Aidan O'Connell continues to look his way in big-time situations, whether it's 3rd and whatever, 4th and whatever. O'Connell, when the time came down to it, they were looking his way. And for that reason, I got to make Wilkerson a winner. And also the fact that Philip Dorsett came in this game a little bit later. This might be an unpopular opinion, but Wilkerson might actually make this roster. I don't think he does. I still think that they end up keeping Dorsett. But if you want to talk about a surprise cut candidate, Philip Dorsett could be a name to keep in mind. How about this, y'all? Let me know down in the comment section right now. It's going to be the pinned comment on today's show. Who was the Raiders' biggest winner against the Cowboys? There weren't many winners, but you know what? It's the preseason. I'm trying to look at this thing, the whole glass half full type of thing. So give me your winner right now after this YouTube ad break. Let's go to the next winner here. It's Jesper Horsted, and it's not the fact that he had an outstanding game. Jesper has missed a lot of playing time. He missed the first 2 preseason games. He missed a lot of practice. But for me, I want guys that pass the eye test. And Horsted tonight looked like he had a pretty solid game overall. And again, in preseason, I look for opportunities, right? Horsted saw 3 targets, had 3 catches for 28 yards, made 1 really clutch play, but he played over Cole Fotheringham. And I know there were some people out there that thought, all right, maybe Cole could end up making the 53. I don't see that happening. I see the Raiders keeping Austin Hooper. I see them keeping Michael Mayer, and I see them keeping Jesper Horsted. Not because of his game today, but I thought he did do okay. Let's go to the next winner here. It's Tyree Wilson. It's not that Wilson did anything spectacular. He was just on the field. To me, the fact that he was on the field during a preseason game tells me that he is healthy and that the Raiders were so confident in his health that they were able to put him out onto the field. He didn't do much from a defensive standpoint. He got out there. He had 1 tackle, but there's one play he had where he threw an offensive lineman. If you guys haven't seen the video, I know it's on Sanjeet's Instagram, but it was a highlight when that happened during our watch party. I was like, holy shit, you can see Tyree Wilson's strength. And then it's on social media, but for another human being to be able to toss another man that's bigger than him the way that Wilson did, you can already kind of see the freak nature. He's a little bit slow. He's got to get that foot healed up a little bit, but I'm just going to say the fact that he was a winner because he's out there on the field. Let's go with the next name here. It's Nesta, Jade, Silvera. The defensive tackles today for the Raiders sucked, and that's probably the easiest way that I can put it. You're going to see them here in a little bit for the losers section. But when I watch Nesta, Jade, Silvera, to me, he just looks like a player that deserves to make this roster. He gives really good effort. He made a tackle 10 yards down the field, and I am willing to bet on him because, to me, he works hard. You can see that he stops the run, and you drafted him in the 7th round. If your defensive tackles were great, maybe you don't keep him. But let's face it, you got one of the worst defensive tackle rooms in the NFL. Before we get to our losers here, remember, today's show sponsored by BetUS. Go to chatsports.com/Raiders. Promo code Raiders125. It's going to get you 125% deposit bonus. If you like betting on the NFL, we're your one-stop shop. Told you all to go bet on the Raiders over in this game. Guess what? It hit at 38.5. If you want to bet on the Raiders Week 1 game, if you want to bet on how many games the Raiders are going to win this season, one place to do it only. It's our sports book. Shout out to BetUS, chatsports.com/Raiders. Promo code Raiders125 for 125% deposit bonus. Let's now go to the losers versus Dallas. It's Justin Herron. I just can't see a world where he ends up making this team, and if he does make the team, shame on you, Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler, because what the hell did I just watch in the last 3 preseason games? There was a reason why he's been a loser in all 3 games. He ain't it. He's just not that guy. He was bad again today. He had a bad false start penalty. He was diving at ankles for defensive ends. If you're an offensive tackle and you have to dive at somebody's ankles to try to stop them, I mean, let's be real. You're putting Aidan O'Connell out there. He's a liability. Herron has no business making this roster. I'm also going to put out Alex Bars. It's not that he played bad, but the fact that he was playing in the fourth quarter. I laugh sometimes when people don't take us serious YouTubers here, but we were telling a lot of people, and I know I was on that train of Alex Bars is not a good offensive lineman. He has no business being a starter, and I know what the Raiders listed him as. They listed him as the starting right guard on their depth chart. But why is he playing in this final preseason game in the fourth quarter? It's because he's not as high on that list as what a lot of people truly think that he is. To me, McClennan Curtis is going to play a lot higher. I think Lester Cotton is another really good example of that. They put him as the starting right guard, didn't make this team. But because of that, Alex Bars has to be a clear loser here. So what do you think here? Drink the Haterade. Who was the Raiders' biggest loser against the Dallas Cowboys? To me, the biggest loser in this game was Justin Herron. It was just really another bad game from a player standpoint. From an overall standpoint, it's got to be the Raiders' defensive line. I don't care if we're talking about edge rushers, defensive tackles. When you allow the Dallas Cowboys to beat you up on the interior the way that they did, the Cowboys had 35 carries for 153 yards and 2 touchdowns. They were making Dallas look like the greatest rushing attack that I've ever seen. Now, yeah, not everybody played. John Jenkins didn't play. Tillery didn't play. Bilal Nichols didn't play. Adam Butler didn't play, which very intriguing to see the fact that happened. They let a lot of the younger players play. Matthew Butler did not look very impressive. Neil Farrell Jr. had 1 good pressure. After that, though, Nesta, Jade, Silvera was okay. It was just a lot of just this type of emoji. It was really disappointing, this Raiders defensive line effort. Let's go to the next loser here. It's David Long Jr. He started today's game on the outside, and I'm sorry, he's not that good to me. I try to be a straight shooter with y'all, and that's what I try to do. Duke Shelley also could have been on this list. He really has not been that impressive to me as well. Sam Webb came in later. Amik Robertson got the start. The only 3 corners that I am willing to bet my life on that make this roster are the ones that are pictured right now up on screen. Peters, Hobbs, Ja'Cory, and Bennett. I can make a legitimate argument why you should keep and cut every single other player. Now, I say that. Ike Brown, he ain't making it. He sucks. He got toasted today. Azizi Hearn is, hey, thanks for playing type of guy. Bryce Cosby, terrible last name, maybe even worse play from what I saw on the field today. It's just a really, really difficult situation with those players there. But it's going to be between Hall, Amik, Sam Webb. Brandon Faison's going to make it. I think they're going to put him on the IR. Duke Shelley, and then David Long Jr. Let's go to the final loser here. It's Jaquan Johnson. I never anticipated the fact that he was going to make this team. But, again, when you're just a mismatch every time you go out there on the field, it's kind of hard to watch. When Will Grier throws for 29 to 35 for 305 yards, 2 touchdowns, and then he also runs for 10 for 53 and 2. Shit, he might be a better quarterback than Trey Lance. I'm kidding. But Will Grier went out there and was balling out. So the defense from a top to bottom standpoint was probably the biggest loser in this game. But Jaquan needed to play well. Chris Smith, he's not going to make it over him. He's not going to make it over Isaiah Paulame, who honestly, he didn't even play all that well in this game. Roderick Teamer is a sneaky name that could end up making this roster, but only time will tell. But Jaquan, sorry, homie, you ain't making this roster. Now, remember, y'all, if you want to follow me on Instagram or Twitter, you can always do so. I'm at Mitchell Renz 365. Shout out to Wild 114. He was the MVP during our preseason Week 3 watch party. And if you want to be the MVP for all of our upcoming games here, man, be ready, because once the regular season gets going, it's only 2 weeks away. we party here on the Raiders Report. Before I leave all of y'all, remember, set a reminder. I'm getting my Raiders tattoo on Thursday, August 31st, 11 a.m. Eastern Time. That show's going to run for probably 8 hours. I'm getting an entire Raiders leg sleeve. Can't even believe it's going to happen. It's kind of a wild thing. Going to be alive all day Thursday, all day Friday. Have other Raiders content creators, so set a reminder. I better see you there.